Hello. Today we'll be reading Nina Soni, Former Best Friend, written by Kashmira, Sheth, illustrated by Jen Sky. A quick summary before we begin. Nina tried as hard as she could to keep track of everything, but somehow she still forgot about her school project. Her friend Jay is mad at her. With little sister Kavita's birthday party right around the corner, her longtime friendship with Jay on the rocks, there's a lot going on. Fortunately, a class lesson about Alexander Fleming inspires Nina on how she might make a great discovery and a great project. But even with the help of family and friends and her trusty notebook full of lists, will she be able to get it all done? Chapter 1. What's so great about going fishing every weekend? Asked Jay, waving my paintbrush. Crash! My asking hand knocked over his pirate ship. It flung green paint from my brush too. Unlike Jay's pirate ship pieces, the paint splattered quietly. Sorry. I picked up the pieces of the captain's head and the prisoner's arm from the floor. The whole class stopped what they were doing to stare at us. Nina, why can't you be more careful? Jay's green eyes, the color of bitter melon, were full of anger. My triple apology seemed to have no effect. Sorry, I whispered again. I didn't mean to. Honestly, I talk with my hands waving here and there. That's the way I am. Here I have an illustration. That's just an excuse for being careless and ruining my ship, he said. You know what Kavita always sings, right? Kavita was my little sister who makes up songs. Yeah? And my hands always move when I talk, right? No answer. Even even more when I'm nervous, I wanted to say, but I did not. Instead, waited for Jay to say something. Anything. Silence. Right? I repeated. Hey, I didn't mean to knock down your ship, and I'm sorry. Really sorry. I don't think I ever used 6 sorries in 2 minutes before. That's 3 sorries per minute, I thought. That was an excellent apology. Mr. Hayes walked over. What is going on here? He asked. Then he saw the broken ship. Headless pirates and prisoners and splotches of green paint. His mouth flew open. Other kids came closer. They gawked and gasped. I waited to hide under the table. On the floor next to the broken I wanted to hide under the table, on the floor next to the broken piece of Jay's ship. Everyone go back to your own projects, Mr. Hayes said. I picked up a chunk of clay from the floor. I think once upon a time it was the captain's cabin. I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes. It was an accident. He put his arm around Jay's shoulders. It was a beautiful ship, Jay. I'm glad I saw it before it was broken. You will get an A. That made me smile. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Jay was silent, staring at his broken ship and pirates. Mr. Hayes says, accidents happen, but try to be more careful, Nina. I will. I turned to Jay. See, you still got an A, so no worries, right? Jay shot me a look that said, shut up. He would have said it out loud if Mr. Hayes wasn't around. Jay and I cleaned the mess and wiped green paint from the floor, but he didn't say a word to me. I guess I haven't had very good luck with Jay Davenport lately. Until almost now, he was my best friend. He used to come over all the time with his mom, or without her, to just hang out with us. We made squishy dough, rolled rotis, slathered them with buttery ghee with after they were cooked, and ate them. While Mom worked on her landscape projects, we sat at the dining table and drew our own gardens and colored them. I loved going to his house and playing with all the blocks and building set that belonged to his dad when he was young. Then Jay's cousins moved here from California and Texas, so Jay got busy with them. On weekends, he went fishing with his grandpa and had sleepovers with his cousins. And every Thursday, had a big family dinner. I saw him at school, side by side. We had talked and worked in our art class for 6 weeks. It was fun. His pirate ship was perfect. Now I crashed it. That sink our friendship too. 2 days later, when all the best projects were displayed, I felt really bad. Not because my swing set was not one of them, because Jay's pirate ship would have been the best one if I hadn't crashed it. The day we were supposed to take our clay sculptures home, Jay didn't come to school. I wonder if he didn't come because he had nothing to take home. It made me sad. but I didn't know what to do. Jay and I were best friends. This is my in-head list of reasons why. And in my head list is a list I made in my head. Sometimes my head forgets part of this, but I never forget to carry my head. And I don't need a paper, pen, or pencil in my in my head list. My in my head list for why Jay and I are best friends. Jay's mom, Mary Massey, and my mother were best friends. We're both Indian American. Well, Jay is only half Indian, just like Jay's mother. Both of my parents came here from India. Jay's great grandfather came from Europe. Just like Jay, his grandfather and father were born right here in Wisconsin. Jay lives on my street. He's in my class. I see Jay at school, at neighborhood gatherings, and at Indian parties on weekends. He knows more than he should about my family. Like when I was 5, I wore his mom's shoes and fumbled down the staircase. But I hate bitter melon, but my mom makes me eat a few bites of it. And worst of all, on my first sleepover at his house, I cried and cried. Finally, my dad had to come and get me at midnight. Jay knows about my forgetfulness too. Forgetfulness means your mind becomes so full of new thoughts and ideas that it pushes out the old ones. It happens to me a lot. Now that Jay was not my best friend, I wish he would forget about all my forgetfulness. After the pirate ship accident, Jay didn't walk with me to school and didn't talk to me in class except to tease me. He made fun of things like me wearing a coat on a 70-degree day or never buying school lunch except on Pizza Friday. When his mom came over to our house, he went fishing with his cousin Jeff and Grandpa Joe instead of coming too. Maybe Jeff was my best friend now. Jeff wasn't clumsy. He didn't. Maybe Jeff was his best friend now. Jeff wasn't clumsy. He didn't break Jay's pirate ship, ruin his art project, and made him sad. I guess it was all my fault. Still, it was miserable to think that maybe Jay Davenport was my former best friend. Former means once upon a time.